Well, we'll start with your Q&A that I'm going to ask you all the questions. I don't know that I'm going to post all the questions.
Oh, they're wild?
Because my mom watches this.
Oh,
my
God.
dad might watch it. I don't know.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Oh, you're making me nervous.
I'm kind of nervous. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. This is Blake.
Hola.
How do you say your last name properly?
Krejci.
Krejci. So we have our user-submitted Q&A that you requested.
You're making me nervous.
So I guess you have to answer because this was what you wanted. You said make it spicy.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay, we'll start with the easier ones. So, and this is actually a good question that I would like to know the answer to. Kissing on first dates? Question mark.
Wow, is that a woman or a man's question? Do you know?
These are all from women.
I feel like men ask this question.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Well, because the man leads, right?
They should.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So the man goes 90% and then the girl goes 10%.
Unless you're Brit. On her episode, she was telling a story of when she kissed this guy that she's dating now for the first time, and she would asked him, she was like, do you want to make out? And she said she pounced on him. She said it was the worst kiss ever, but
because of her, because of him.
He blamed it on the fact that she went in for it and he didn't.
Yeah, so I mean, you just got to kind of feel it out, right? Everyone's different. You asked me 3 years ago, hell yeah, we're kissing on the first date. But now I'm trying to be more of a best friend with a person that I'm interested in before we get anything physical going on.
Okay. Even kissing?
Nah. Yeah, I wouldn't kiss on the first date. I would leave it up to the second or third.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is it appropriate to be physically intimate?
So my stance on physical intimacy now, and this is a past year sort of thing, but actually this is the past 3 months sort of thing. My wiener gets me in trouble.
Yes.
So I fall in love with infatuation and chemistry. Mm-hmm. And then 8 months in or a year in or whatever, you figure out it's not going the way you want it to. But I have the type of personality where I don't quit on anything.
Yeah, you do.
At all. I've torn ligaments and stuff in my legs in the military because I refused to quit on stuff. But I figured out the very hard way that sometimes you should quit on people to protect yourself. So because of that, I'm obviously trying to find a wife right now. So I'd rather.
We're going to run that back. He's trying to find a wife right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, so
social media will be linked, pictures, background tech, whatever you need.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, I'm blushing. So yeah, I'd rather get to know her as an individual, and also where she's at in her faith, because that's really important to me right now too. Number one. Mm-hmm. A good friend of mine, Chase, if you watch this, he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, never has, and he held his virginity is a weird thing to say. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me, but yeah, he held it until he met his wife, and I think that's a really cool thing, because I think there's actually statistics on it where the more people you have sex with before you meet your wife, the less likely you are to be as in love with them per se. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Pair bonding. And statistics show that, like I said, like the more people you sleep with when you get married, the higher the divorce rate is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I just took all this into consideration, like more recently, and was like, I don't want that.
Yeah. I think so. Two things. One, I want to kind of preface by saying, like, I'm going to attest that that's new for you. Like, because
Yeah.
we have all walks of life on the show,
Mm-hmm.
but coincidentally, I think all of y'all at this point have said that. Trey talked about that was his biggest regret in dating was like sleeping around when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Josh expressed that he's waiting until, I mean, he's been married, but he's now divorced, but he's like waiting again. Stanley didn't say that, but him and his wife waited until marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want everyone to know I'm not doing that on purpose.
No.
That's not like my agenda, but it's interesting because a lot of people, myself included, have started to change their ways of thinking when it comes to physical intimacy and waiting longer or waiting entirely before being intimate with someone. Because I feel like we've all, like, a lot of us have kind of like done that and then realized like this is hurting me, this isn't helping me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someone specifically, like, if I would have waited, then I definitely probably would have saved a lot of years of my life if I took that
same.
stance. So
I think I would be in a much better position.
yeah, I don't think I'll necessarily wait till marriage, but I would wait a long
Longer.
time. Well, yeah, longer. And I don't know. Like, I'm not putting a time frame on it, but like, once I feel like, okay, I'm going to marry you and this is going to work out, then we can have that conversation
Yeah,
with whoever that is.
I like it. Well, the next question was sex on the first date, question mark. But that's
We just went over
obviously
that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm apologizing in advance for asking you this because this is my least favorite question and it came from my own mother.
Oh
Like,
God.
my least favorite question that people ever ask me. Why are you still single?
I mean,
And she loves you, so that's obviously not insulting you.
yeah, I know. I guess my standards now are very, very, very high. Like, I'm being really picky right now
Why do you say right now?
because I wasn't before. And I was in a 5-6 year relationship. So a couple reasons. Like, I was in a very like long
You were
relationship.
engaged.
I was engaged. Yeah. And then that didn't work out because my standards were not high enough. Because if they were, then I would have probably ended that like 1 month in. And then after that, her and I broke up. I guess I got a girlfriend. Standards were really high. She didn't meet them. I ended that. And then I got another one after her. She was amazing, but she was agnostic. And that's like number one on my list. And I just didn't see how that was going to work out if we were to have kids and I want to go to church every Sunday. And then I'm going to build a community through my church and she doesn't want to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I ended that. After that, I was like, all right.
When was that?
Like 5 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna just chill. You know, I'm not looking for anything. If someone just like walks into my life and is about it, then great, you know. But I'm not on dating apps. I'm not looking for anybody. And then I took a position with the company that I'm at right now, and I'm in a managerial position, and I have people that depend on me. So I'm putting that on my sole focus right now because
Tell us about your company.
Adams Roofing,
Adams Roofing.
Greater Houston area, San Antonio, Austin,
Okay.
Dallas, anywhere. We'll travel if we have to. If you have someone that needs help, I'm happy to go out there and take a look at it and help them.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, adamsroofinghtx.com, I believe
Okay.
it is.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Blake the Roofer.
Oh, well, yes, yours, but the
Oh.
Blake the Roofer.
Yeah.
If you're gonna inquire about the wife position, Blake the Roofer. If you're interested in a roof, Adam's Roofing.
Yeah, Adams Roofing HTX
Okay.
is what it is.
Yeah, I'll link
Yeah,
it.
link it.
Okay.
So yeah, like those guys depend on me, and I like went full force into the company. I was like, this is the only thing that matters right now. And I made a lot of personal sacrifices for like the first 3 months to make sure everyone had what they needed so they can be as successful as possible. And now things are kind of not slow, but like they've settled until today. It's like a
Yeah.
giant hailstorm.
Major
So
hailstorm like currently.
yeah. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll get back into it. But yeah, then work's going to take back over again. And then also, this is going to get very deep, but like my standards are so high for my future wife, and I don't feel like I meet those standards myself sometimes. So I'm not necessarily rushing trying to find someone if I don't feel like I'm going to bring everything to the board that I would ask of her,
Yeah.
if that makes
I think
sense.
that's exactly the way that a man should think.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's right to pursue a woman if you don't know and are confident in your abilities to be who she deserves. I
Yeah.
think that it's actually very wrong to do that because
Oh, absolutely.
you're putting her heart on the line, knowing in the back of your mind that you're not ready.
Yeah.
And so that it's going to end and you're going to hurt her basically.
Yeah.
And so it's a selfish thing to do as a man. If you're not prepared to be a husband, you shouldn't be pursuing anybody.
Yeah, that's a great notion.
And that doesn't mean you're perfect. Nobody's perfect.
And I guess
but-
that's something like I'm personally struggling with because like I'm emotionally ready and mentally ready, but like I have like an envision in my head. I feel like everything has to be perfect, and then I find her, right?
You keep saying you have high standards. What does that look like?
Someone that like has, because at this point like I'm 29, like our dating age right now, like if you're single, you probably have like some sort of trauma going on.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, like the
Or you're
chance.
just like weird.
Yeah. If you're weird, you're not even on the board. I mean, actually, I'm pretty weird, but there's different types of weird.
Yeah, different type of weird.
So,
Your
like,
wife.
she's fixed like her stuff, right?
Gone to therapy.
Yeah, gone to therapy, dealt with it. Like, at least has some sort of method of like if there's something that triggers her or whatever, she has means to like know how to deal with that instead of just unloading all her onto me.
Yeah.
You know, and then like takes care of herself physically, has big dreams, and God number one. It's like a overview,
Okay.
I would say.
Did you answer? I had posted a poll. I don't remember if you answered or not about if you prefer your wife to work or to stay home.
You asked me a year and a half ago, I'd say work until we have kids. But now it's like I'm so confident as to what I know, where I know I'm going to be 6 months or a year and a half from now, where I don't care if she works or not.
You don't care. Like
No.
it's kind of up to her.
Yeah. I mean, if she's not going to work, obviously I don't want her like laying around and watching Love is Blind all day,
Yeah.
you know? But like doing something, because my goal is retire my wife, and then like before we have kids and her life gets extremely hectic, have her like start something that she's extremely passionate about, that she would like thoroughly enjoy. And if it involves in a business, great. And if it doesn't, then like, oh well, it's not that big of a deal.
I think that's probably the most common answer that I've received about that, because I'm super curious about that, especially being someone who's like very dedicated to
I feel like
my
it's gonna be
career.
hard for you.
It's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of things that are hard. Being a wife, being like a significant other is not hard. That's easy for me. For me, it'll be hard to sacrifice my lifestyle, like, for someone else.
What do you mean lifestyle?
Like, doing what I want, when I want, without answering to anybody. Like, hustling for fun, basically. I mean, I love what I do. Being in sales, like, it's a ride. Every day is a roller coaster. Like, I have a very unique lifestyle that I live. Being able to pick up and leave, get on a plane tomorrow, and go wherever I want to go.
That's true.
And so I'm not talking about, like, luxury or money-wise, but, like, just not having to answer to anybody and not having to take care of anyone else, whether that be a husband or a child.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard for me to let go of.
I feel like you're real dominant.
What do you mean?
Like, I think this was actually a question the last time. Like, there was a subject about
Yeah, we had an episode about it.
leading, like the man leads,
Oh, yeah.
and the woman, like, submits. And I hate that word submit because people just think, like, oh, he's going to walk all over me.
People take it the wrong way, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, that, no, Natalie and that, I just couldn't see it. But who knows? Like, people change, right? But
The thing that I've learned is, like, first of all, I have changed a lot within the last decade. And I've become a lot softer. And at the same time, I have learned through experience that I do want someone to lead. But I've also learned that I need to pick a specific type of guy that can lead me. So wherever you are as a woman, the man should be here. He shouldn't be way up here and you down here. And it shouldn't be this way. He needs to be about right here. So he needs to be a little taller than me, a little bit more successful than me, a little bit smarter than me.
I like how that's the first place you're talking about this and, like, yeah, taller.
I mean, literally, he should be a little bit more than me in every aspect. He should be a little more spiritual mature than me. He should be more emotionally mature than me. He should be just a little bit more. Otherwise, because I am so dominant, I'll lose respect like that.
Yeah.
If my dedication to my fitness is more than yours, respect gone.
No, the man should set the example in the house regardless of who's in it.
Yes.
Whether it's wife and kids, it doesn't matter, right? So, like, and I still do this now. I have this weird thing, and I thought I was nuts until I watched the Michael Jordan documentary, and he does sort of the same thing where, like, he makes up stories in his mind to hate the other player so he can play better, right? What I do is I live my life as if, like, I had a son and he watches what I do 24/7. And then he's going to emulate everything I do. So if I'm, like, being a lazy bag of butt, then he's going to be that. And I don't want that for my kids, right? So that's just something that I do personally. But I think if most guys do that, then not only, like, would the world be a safer place, just in a general aspect.
For sure.
But
it would be a better place.
Family units would be stronger. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think for someone who's dominant, it's hard. It's not easy to, like, leave that at the door, basically, when you come home to your relationship. But I think it makes it a lot easier and you're more willing when you can fully put your trust in him. But at the same time, I'm not going to, like, lose myself in a relationship either.
No.
You know, just because I'm being submissive doesn't mean I'm going to quit my job or, like, quit my life.
If you still want to work, you know, like, before you have kids, or, like, even when you want kids, I don't know, that's a decision obviously that has to be made, and everyone's different. Like, me personally, I would want my wife to take care of the kids. I don't want them out of daycare all day if we're both working, you know, and that's another big reason why I would, like, want to retire my wife or make enough money in the house to where we can afford to do that.
Yeah, I agree
very
with that,
comfortably.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more of these questions. So, Do men get icks?
Look, I guess I'm gonna say this right now. I'm an old soul. All right.
Okay.
I don't do like the trendy stuff. So, like,
I think what you meant is you're getting old.
yeah, I'm not even 30 yet, though. Yeah.
That's true. I'm older than you. Icks are like something that makes you like cringe, that you're just like so turned off when they do it, or something about something.
Oh.
So like one of mine, for example, and usually most icks are like something kind of dumb. That's what I think of them as. At least it's not something serious.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me, like when guys have nails that go past their skin, like you don't touch me with those fingers.
Look.
Like it has to be
Okay, so if we're
military style.
yeah, like mine, I guess.
Yeah, you bite your nails though, don't you?
No.
You don't?
Yes, but like, don't say that. Just out me on here, God. No, I don't bite them. I just like, whenever I watch TV, I just have like a nervous habit. But I feel like women's like icks are like a list of things that like aren't really like that important.
That's
Like
what I think too.
God forbid if he like told that dude to trim his nails, he'd be like, okay, cool, and he'd do it.
Yeah, I definitely have more than once.
Okay, yeah. Well, if like you say it more than once, then it's different, I guess.
I mean, like with more than one guy. Like if I ever noticed it, I immediately like call it out. Not in a mean way, but just like.
How do you say that in a polite way, Natalie?
I don't know. Like, I think you should trim your nails before we go out or something, or just like hand it to him. Be like, here,
I mean, at the end of the day,
it.
like the guy has to take care of himself, right?
I mean,
but
that's gross.
yeah.
Isn't it?
I don't know. I don't see anyone walk around with like Edward Scissorhands nails. I've never seen it before.
No, like I don't know. Anyway, that's an example of an ick.
Okay. An example of an ick to me is like people that lie. Okay. Even white lies. I can't stand it.
How do you know if they're telling you a white lie?
I'm very observant. I pay attention.
Why?
I listen intently to everything. And I'm just very observant. Like even if I'm in a crowded room, I just like people watch. Yeah. And you just tell what's going on. Yeah. But especially if you get to know someone.
I agree with that too. I don't know if that's an ick, but I don't like it either.
Yeah. Because to me, if like you're going to tell white lies, you're going to tell other lies. Yeah. Like you're showing you're capable of lying.
Well, I think of like you're a people pleaser. Because the thing that
could be for any reason.
Could be for any reason, but yeah. What always comes to mind for me is people who like lie because they know it's what you want to hear. Like if you're gonna ask me like, should I like iron my shirt? Like, does it look okay? And it like obviously is wrinkled, and I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Like, I would be like, we can't be friends anymore. Like,
yeah,
you were gonna like let me believe you when it's clearly wrinkled.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff bothers me.
Yeah. It's either that or like people that don't have like goals or dreams per se. You know? Like they don't have anything that they're like working towards.
Yeah.
Like it could be anything.
Oh yeah.
You know?
A huge ick.
Or like people that like, man, I have a list of them now. People that like are overly dependent on other people that or things in general. That's kind of contradictory because we just talked about leading and submitting, but like people that are just dependent that don't like have a right to be dependent.
But dependent's not the same thing as being submissive. That's completely
different.
Okay, so men do get icks, yes. And I feel like, at least for you, I don't know, I've never asked another guy that, but maybe for guys, they're like more serious things than. Because I think you're right. I think we do make a list of like stupid things that shouldn't matter.
I've heard like, look, I got a lot of.
It does matter. The long nails, it's disgusting.
I got like a lot of friends, and then a lot that are friends that are girls, and like I hear what they talk about. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing to get annoyed about. like your nails thing, I guess. That's not as dumb. That's the guy has to take care of himself. But like something stupid, like I don't know.
You're not wrong. Okay, so on the contrary, what is your biggest turn on or interest on your first date?
Uh, like someone who's strong in their faith, like reads a lot. Like I'm actually going on a date Sunday, and we're going to.
Where did you meet?
We met at the rodeo. We met a long time ago.
Okay, you met a long time ago, rekindled at the rodeo.
Yeah. We're going to church on Sunday and then brunch after.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So, strong faith would be your answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone that's like strong in their faith and then like knows what they want and also doesn't play games. Like there's a whole stigma of like I should wait equally as long to reply to him for how long he replied to me. Or like I shouldn't talk to him for like 36 hours
Okay,
after our
so
first date.
I have a question about this. Do you think that women should play hard to get?
No.
You don't.
No.
So
For a
you
guy
don't
that's
think-
serious and knows what he wants, and especially for someone who's like really busy, I don't have time for that.
So you don't think it's a turn off if she's very available to you? Like when you text, she always texts back like quickly, or
No, there's a difference between like being like very available and like just like throwing yourself out there kind of thing, you know? Like just text back like or like talk or whatever, do when you can. But if you're like canceling other things or if like anything else, like your work starts to decline because you're constantly worrying if I'm going to call you or not, then yeah, it's going too far. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to come back to that because I feel like it makes a difference. Like if I always were to text in the beginning at least, always text back when I am able to, I feel like guys would perceive it as clingy.
No.
Or
It's annoying as hell. Like if I want to have a conversation with you, like if I'm just at the house or whatever and like I want to talk and you're replying like every hour, I'm like, I don't got time for this.
you don't like that.
No. No, absolutely not.
Okay. So you
Like the hard to get
prefer-
thing is a facade and I don't know how it started, but it needs to stop.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
Because the right guy is going to appreciate, like, you don't have to pretend to do something or like follow something you don't want to do. Like if you want to talk to him, then talk to him,
Yeah.
right? And if he thinks that's like weird, that's on him. And there's probably other things that aren't going to work out if that's what bothers him. Something small like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's probably true. That's what I think. And you know me, I'm very straightforward to the point. Like
Yeah.
I really can't. I can try, but it won't last very long. Of like trying to pretend to be somebody else or like play hard to get or play games.
Yeah,
like
don't-
that'll last me 5 minutes, and then like the true me is gonna come back. So I don't. But I wonder if that hurts me instead of helps me. Of like being straightforward and like, I read your text, so I'm gonna reply to it right now, instead of waiting. Or like I feel like calling, so I'm gonna call.
I'll give you a story. So the owner of our company, Seth, and his wife, Jen, they were like talking for a little bit and Seth like didn't reply for like a week or something because of work, because he used to storm chase. And he was like, hey, I'm sorry. And Jen was like, no, you're going to take me to lunch and you're going to tell me why, like we were talking a lot and all of a sudden you just fell off the face of the earth for a week.
This is before they were married?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now they're married. But like she was forward and was, you know, like straight to the point.
I like that.
Yeah.
Worked out. Okay, noted. This is good advice. Okay, thoughts on women farting?
Oh, I don't care. I've always had a thing that like the relationship like hasn't gotten serious until the woman farts for the first time.
I never have. Never in my whole life.
I think it's annoying as crap. Like especially like girls
To
that
do it or to not do it?
to not do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like especially
First
You
of all,
heard
if you
that-
have a lot of gas, we need to talk gut health.
Yeah.
That's not right. But
Yeah.
sometimes, like, you go out for Mexican food or whatever, like, obviously.
Yeah, but have you heard that saying like the prettiest girls have the worst gas?
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So like what if you're watching a movie and she's got to go to the bathroom every 20 minutes to go fart? Like I would be so irritated. Yeah.
So it doesn't, like, to gross you out.
No, but every guy's different though.
Okay.
That's like a very person to person kind of thing. I don't care.
There are some guys that, like, want to turn a blind eye to any bodily functions. Like, they want to think girls don't poop, don't fart, they don't want to know about your period. They just want to think you're, like, a Barbie doll. There are guys
that's
who are
weird.
really like that.
Yeah, and I think that's strange. Like those are the people that end up being serial killers. Yeah, that's
Those
weird.
and the guys with mommy issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so our main topic. Oh, we forgot to cheers.
Oh, churs.
Cheers. Okay, so we'll do a proper introduction. Tell us about like your background, just briefly your background. How'd you grow up? What do you do? Are you still in the military?
No, so
Where do you live? What's your?
I live in the burbs per se. It's me and my 2 labs.
You own a house there?
Yeah.
Okay.
House with a pool. It's more of like one of my dog's pond now, but because you can't get out of it. I grew up, there's a little community called Meyerland, or specifically Westbury, like southwest Houston, like 4 miles south of Bel Air.
Okay, grew up in Houston.
Yeah, I grew up in Houston, and like my upbringing wasn't really, it was pretty rough. Yeah, I would say. Like a lot of people would never guess it, but yeah, like that's actually part of the reason why I have such big goals, because when I do have kids, I want to make sure like they get everything that I never got, you know, but
Yeah.
different story. Then I moved out when I was 18. Started working on offshore drilling rigs as a roughneck for 3-4 years. Oil and gas collapsed, so I got let go. Then I joined the Marine Corps. And
So that would have been what, like 2015?
2015. Yeah, 2015. And then my dad, he got diagnosed with cancer like a week or 2 before I was supposed to ship out. How my contract was written was active duty. But I told my recruiter, I was like, look, man, I'm not just gonna, peace out to my dad and like, hey, man, I hope you make it.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, we'll make it a 6-year contract, 2 years reserve, 4 years active duty, so you can take care of your dad. Well, that was a lie, and I didn't figure that out until after I joined. Graduated boot camp, graduated SOI,
And you're Army.
Marine Corps.
Oh, sorry. Did you say that?
Yeah,
Okay. Keep
yeah,
going.
Army's disgusting.
I know all of y'all hate each other. Like,
I mean, like, we're brothers at the end of the day, but like,
but
it's,
everybody like about
Yeah.
like chair force.
yeah. Yeah, I had a customer who was Air Force, and he was giving me crap, and I was like, yeah, the only thing that's good about y'all is y'all fly jets, and y'all get fat off of really good food. You're probably gonna laugh at that, but no, so it actually ended up being like a 6-year reserve contract, which I was super pissed about. But I got lucky that there was a sniper unit at my reserve unit, so I went through Scout Sniper Basic, and I was in a sniper platoon for basically the majority of my Marine Corps career. Yeah.
You know what I really wanted to do? I wanted to go shooting with you. I need like some lessons.
Okay, I'll help you out. Yeah, so I did that, and then as like a reserve, you still have your Well, actually, no, I was active reserve for a long time. So, which means that technically, like my code and the system says I was reserve, but I was active duty as a reservist.
Okay.
So I was that for like 2 years, and then LA Fitness.
That's where we met.
That's where I met you. So I was the personal training director there at Cypress, and after that, I worked for your mom, and then I got into roofing after that. So I worked for a roofing company for 5 years, and then I just recently took a promotional position with my buddy's company.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moving on up in life. Okay. And so you gave us your dating history. You kind of had, sounds like 3 serious relationships.
No, I've had 2 serious relationships, and then
the recent girl that you dated.
yeah, and then like 2 like 3 to 4 month stints.
Yeah.
After my last engagement.
And how many times have you been engaged?
Twice.
So this last time that you were engaged, do you want to kind of tell us about that? Like just a brief summary to kind of get the picture, give people the picture of like what was then and how you got to where you are now as far as your mindset.
Yeah. So like when we first met, my priorities were different, right? So like I was in the best shape of my life, worked at LA, I was killing it, everything was good. And my priorities in women were like, you know, just be a good person, but that wasn't like number one. You know, I believed in God, but wasn't strong in my faith yet. And I always like, man, I just want to breed athletes. I was like, I want kids that are athletic.
Like your kid.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I met her and she was athletic and she was pretty.
She was a looker.
Yeah.
Just to give a little picture to people, like, especially when you work in fitness culture, you're the guy. Like when you walk into this huge commercial gym, and with your personality, like you're the guy. Like you're the kind of the face of that gym. And you're the top dog of the people who work there because as the training director, you're making more money than everybody else, and you kind of like dictate like what goes on.
Right.
So you're just like the person. And there are the members who have like little cliques, and they have their own little like like ranking system kind of. So
Sure.
She was like one of the members that like was like the girl. Like she walks in and she knows all the people who work there. Everybody knows her. She's like also killing it in her workouts and like beautiful, and like it's like, what's she gonna wear today? Or what's she not gonna wear today?
So my position at the club is like, it's not the very front desk, but the sales section to the side. I am the very front desk.
Right.
So I see.
And you're probably at the front desk a lot.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I see everyone that walks in and out of that club, and I memorize everyone. And then she walks in for the first time, and I was like, holy crap.
That's pretty much everyone's reaction.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I got to get on that.
Also probably everyone's reaction.
Yeah. But then I saw like she was getting like constantly approached, and I'm not trying to bother people like in their workout, you know. So I got fortunate that the person that worked at the front desk knew her. So I was like, look, I don't normally ask for favors, but just like, you know, kind of like put a word in for me. So I'm not just a creepy dude coming up to her for the 5th time that day.
Yeah.
You know, and it worked out when we started dating. She played hard to get.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yeah, it was super annoying. I asked her like 4 times, and it was...
Well, in both of your defense, y'all were a lot younger. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I was very...
Like 24 or something.
Yeah, I was like 23, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so then that kicked off. And like, it was really like super intense in a good way. Right? Like a lot of chemistry. We were like the same person. And then I kind of started finding out like she had some serious issues about herself, and I'm a fixer.
Mm-hmm.
I solve problems. It's literally what I do for a living, but like I like to do that, right? So I was like, okay, I can help you with this, and I'm really realizing now that I'm older that that's not my responsibility, and that person's probably going to drag you down in the hole with you,
Yeah.
and that's what ended up happening.
Well, yeah, you can't fix people.
No, no. I mean, I was like, I'm willing to help, but I help too much. Like I was helping almost the entire time, and it just dragged me down with her. So then there's like some infidelity, and that was kind of the last straw, and broke up. And I was just like, all right, I just need a complete mental reset
Yeah.
of everything that I think is like important and not important in a relationship. So I went from before. D'Amico Ryans, the head coach of the Houston Texans, talks about this a lot, where he says, I'm going to draft and sign person over player, right? So you got to be a good person first and then a great player second.
Big Texans fan.
Oh, giant, yeah.
Not the Giants.
No, giant
Giant
Texans fan. The
Yeah.
Giants suck, especially New York. God.
Sorry, Ryan. My good friend's a big Giants fan.
But now it's kind of switched, because before I was like, all right, player first, like looks, I want to breed athletes, great personality, good chemistry. And I fell in love with that. And by that time, like it was too late once I figured out like she had some serious issues and probably wasn't a good person at heart, But now it's different, where it's like good person first. I'm gonna do my best to like fight like a man's urges,
Yeah.
through like us in the talking phase and like the beginning stages of dating, before I feel like she's not playing a facade or something like that, or pretending to be something that she's not, before we get super serious,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just flipped it.
Man, that's tough. That's a lot of years.
It is.
So.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it. Actually, I would. That's a damn lie. Yeah, I would definitely change that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would change a lot. Like you.
That's probably the only thing that I would do differently in my entire life.
What would your best dating story be if you had to pick?
Well, my pickup line on her. So free game, fellas. You can only use this once a year, and this is the only pickup line I've ever used in my life. But she walked in the club on October 10th. Okay. So like I checked her in or whatever, and I was like, hey, like on the computer screen right here, it says that you're today's date. She's like, what? I was like, it says that you're a 10 out of 10. And it was super cheesy, but like it took the icing off.
Did you make that up?
I did. Okay, look, but then I saw like on Instagram that like the memes that happen on that specific date every year come up on October 10th every year, and I was like, I did that first. Before like it became a thing.
Oh, so you started it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who.
Memes didn't exist back then, so you definitely came up with it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So, today's topic question, every episode with interviews with the guy, we have like a main topic question that is something that women want or need to know the answer to. Mm-hmm. So, our topic question today is, do nice guys finish last?
So, this is a really good topic. To answer your questions very specifically, yes, nice guys finish last.
Okay.
But you need to separate. There's a difference between nice guys and good men. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think of a nice guy as someone that's a pushover, concerned or scared to like say what needs to be said.
Yeah.
I believe a man should be capable of violence if necessary, but knows how to control it to where it's only happening when it's needed to protect like his family or young ones, right? But nice guys aren't capable of that, right? They're just like going about their life.
How would you like describe a nice guy? Like what are the traits?
Someone that like just like lets their wife walk over them. Like there's a lot of dudes like that now. I don't get it. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't do this. My wife said no. Like what? No. Like I've look, there should be a balance, you know.
Yeah.
But my wife said no. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you dating your mom? Like, no. There needs to be a balance there, and your wife doesn't dictate your life, right? At the same time, your man, especially if you're leading and providing for your family, you can not do what you want all the time, but like you should be able to do what you want, right? And nice guys don't do that. They're scared to voice their concerns or opinions. They kind of like let people walk all over them.
Well, they don't have opinions.
Yeah, or they don't. I mean, look, everyone has opinions.
You'd be surprised. I dated a nice guy once.
He has opinions, Nat. He's just not telling you. He's not a robot.
No, I mean some people like just they really don't think that hard, and they're just like whatever you think. Seriously. And a nice guy will like. Why would he care? Like why would he try to think of an opinion on something that
Okay.
if I already have a strong opinion and he's like, well, I don't have to think about it because she's already got the opinion for us. Obviously, you're gonna naturally have some opinions on certain things, but like if it was something that was like new or something that really makes you think, and a true nice guy, you're right. He might either withhold, but I think a true nice guy just doesn't have an opinion. Because he is a pushover.
So in the specific scenario you just said, like whatever you think, you also have to think like guys are extremely simple. We don't need a whole lot
That's true, yeah.
to be happy, right? So if you asked him, hey, what do you want to eat? And he's like, whatever you want. He's literally probably means that.
Yes.
Right? But if he's like, hey, when should we have kids, or when should we get married, or like important discussions?
What about like politics?
Oh yeah, yeah, bro. Politics, I don't like to talk about them, but they are important.
You do like to talk about them.
I don't. I really don't, but I feel like I have to, because I feel like if I just kept letting these like green-haired, blue-haired freaking weirdos run around like screaming all this like completely nonsense crap, and nobody says anything about it, then they're just going to take over.
Yeah, they're going to take over. They're just going to keep taking our money with their stimulus checks.
Yeah.
And ruining the culture.
Yeah.
And running around places they don't belong with picket signs and smelly because they don't shower. And
yeah, exactly.
Indoctrinating kids.
Yeah. And I mean, it's gotten real crazy past couple years with like the kids thing, you know, like before politics was simple, like, oh, you know, we shouldn't invade Iraq, or, you know, I believe my taxes should be lower. Now it's like, hey, dude, I don't want like child porn books in my kid's school library.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want you teaching about like what's the difference between a black guy and a white guy in a standardized test.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
or like
that's not your job.
I don't think that you should be able to take away my kids because I won't cut their private parts off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, when I tell you, like, if that stuff really starts happening, like, that's what, like I said, be capable of violence, but, like, only use it when necessary. And if that line keeps getting pushed, and it's going to eventually get to a point where, like, a man that leads his family has nothing else left to lose, or there's going to be some crazy rednecks out there that just like don't give a damn or have nothing to lose.
Oh yeah.
They're going to
There's some-
snap.
Yeah.
And
See, a nice guy, what I think of with a nice guy, would never say any of that because he doesn't want to ruffle feathers or
no, you're right.
Doesn't want to think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I used to be opposite. I used to ruffle too many feathers. Yeah.
You've matured. Reined
Well,
it in a little
there's a
bit.
balance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten older.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of established a nice guy. I think of like very soft, like I feel like he doesn't have calluses on his hands kind of
Right.
guy. So what does finishing last mean? What does that mean to you?
Oh, you're not gonna get the girl. You know, like, hey, if you want like a specific girl, you're not gonna get her because women are biologically programmed to follow.
Yeah.
Right? And if they're leading, they're like not attracted to that at all. It's just the reality of the situation. Like I'm sorry if you think otherwise, but you know, stats and science and everything prove that all throughout history. Just because we have technology now doesn't change anything. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly like, what, you know, oh, whatever you think, or I'm happy with whatever you want, and you're not providing any suggestions, like a good example is like if you're getting to know a guy and he wants to take you on a date, right? Instead of saying, hey, like, where do you think we should go? Just like at that point, you probably know what she likes and be like, hey, Perry Steakhouse, 7 p.m. Saturday. Are you available? Boom, right there. Right. So, but the whole like, hey, like, what do you want? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't.
You
Yeah.
want to hang out?
Yeah. Do you want to
wanna
hang
chill?
out? You want to chill, bro? You want to chill, bro? Want to come Netflix and chill? Yeah. Yeah. Nice guys do finish last for sure. They don't get, and that's not even for women. That's just in life, right? Like even your job or your career.
Yeah.
If you don't voice your concerns or opinions, then you're probably like not really working that hard to begin with, or you're probably in a career where there's not.
So you're probably like a real like
You're probably
stagnant or kind of in a stunted
Yeah.
career space.
probably sitting at a desk in a large corporate company hating your life.
Yep.
Yeah,
Doing the same thing every day.
exactly. So yeah.
So what do you think about like because some of them do get girls. They get married. And that's the marriage where like you were saying like he kind of is a pushover and she walks all over him. So there are some women who do want that, but it's because they want someone that they can walk all over. Do you think that that's
Hold on one second. Do you think that they want to do that, or do you think they have to do that?
I think women who dominate to that extent have been jaded. Those women, something made them that way. Like you said, we're biologically wired to follow, to submit, to be feminine. But the world happens to you. So maybe the way you were raised was by a very dominant woman, so that's what you learned. Maybe you had a dad who couldn't take care of you, or you had past relationships where you had to take over or whatever it was, or you're a single mom, so you have to be everything for everybody. Like I've seen a lot of women who the world has happened to them and it's made them be this person that like wants to control and dominate over everything. And it's more comfortable when you're that person to find a guy who fits into that box than to change who you are. It's a lot harder to change from that and sort through and fix all your to get back to like your natural state of being soft and feminine. That's hard. That takes work. Finding a nice guy doesn't take any work.
Okay,
That's my theory.
so you're settling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're settling
Everything
for...
requires hard work like me, for example, I grew up rough and had like no opportunities compared to some of the kids that went to my high school where their dads are like multi-millionaires and went to college and everything. Not everyone's dealt the same hand, but it's up to you on how you play it, you know? So, I mean, maybe they don't know that like that's the way things are naturally supposed to be, where like women follow and men lead, you know, because of what you said.
Yeah.
But because they either don't know or don't or are uncomfortable or don't want to put in the work to fix or change what should naturally happen for a woman, then they're not going to be like really ecstatic about their marriage every day. Those are like the marriages where it's just like, yeah, he's my husband.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
like
And
there's no
they
excitement.
like insult each other in front of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
he just like takes it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hate that. So obviously I would say you probably don't consider yourself a nice guy
Well, I can't.
by this definition.
I can't consider that. That's for the people that know me to decide. Yeah. That's like LeBron James saying he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's not. You know.
So
I would think I'm a good man,
yeah.
not a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that. Yeah.
So I would agree with that. For you, how do you feel like that has played out for you?
Okay.
Basically, how's it going? Being that way.
Oh, it's going good so far. I think like at one point, like I was sort of a nice guy.
Really?
Well, like yeah, there was a part in my engagement like where I went from a good man to a nice guy, and I hated it. And then things, you know, like I broke that off, and now I went back to the point of being a good man again. Yeah. And I'm never going to compromise ever again.
Why did you change from a good man to a nice guy in that relationship?
Because this is getting deep. I was like head over heels for her. Like I was willing to do anything it took. And I wasn't going to quit, you know, etc. And there was a lot of psychological manipulation going on where I was trying to lead a family as a good man should, but then I got called controlling.
Okay.
Because I didn't agree with my wife or my significant other going to like bars on the weekends with all of her single friends when I'm like out working or like not with her, or I'm like doing stuff in the Marine Corps. You know, like
Was that a situation where you weren't really invited? Like it was like, hey, I'm going out with the girls type situation? Like how it was presented at least? Or was
oh yeah,
it
there
like
was some
you
there's
didn't want to go?
yeah, there were some nights where it's like, yeah, it's girls' night, and I get that, right? But
at
there
the
was a
same
lot of
time-
that.
At the same time,
That-
girls' night should be girls' night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. And then also,
Girls' night isn't. Go
I'm
out
just
to
not
get
the type of
vibes.
guy like I don't like real busy like bar areas. Like I lived that life very young and very fast. Like I got a fake ID when I was turned 17. So by the time I turned 21, I was like over it, you know? Yeah, so I didn't like doing all that all the time. And then it's hard to maintain that lifestyle if you're doing it every weekend if you want to work on your career and be physically fit.
It's impossible. You
Yeah.
can't do both.
You can't. Yeah, I thought I could, but can't. No. So, yeah, so because of that, and like just that's just for one example, right? So like okay, fine, whatever. Cuz I didn't want to like I'm not controlling, you know? And like I never wanted to be like called that. So I was like, okay, I'm not controlling you, I'm just voicing my concerns. So then I just let her just do that, right?
Go rogue.
Yeah, just let her like, while I'm like in the Marine Corps, she goes like to bars and everything with her single friends. And that's just one example, but many examples like that where I basically was like, all right, fine, because I didn't want to fight about it anymore. And then slowly over time of me just being like, whatever, do what you want, then I turned into a nice guy. Because I had morals and very strong beliefs, but she was not willing to let me lead and submit to the fact that this probably isn't good if you want to be in a relationship together or if you want to eventually get to marriage. And I didn't want to break up. So my only option was to be like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah. So that was kind of your way of like settling just to keep the peace
Yeah, exactly.
until you.
And then eventually I just turned into a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? I don't know how to say this nicely, but like, what do you think is wrong with the nice guys? Like, why are they like that? Because I'll tell you, can't speak for all women, but for most women, we're on the same page. We don't like that. We don't want that. We don't want someone who is a pushover, or we don't want to be in the driver's seat of the relationship. And we don't want the shy guy who is afraid to approach us or afraid to get in a fight when necessary, or like we want someone who can protect us, someone who's dominant, someone who's
Right.
forward, someone who can change our tire, like. But we need more of that. We need more men like that in the world, in the dating pool that we have right now. So like, what's the problem? Why are they?
So-
There's? I feel like it's one extreme or the other. You either have the nice shy guy or complete assholes.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the good men?
Yeah. So I think it's a mix of things, kind of like what you alluded to earlier. It's like how you're raised, right? So getting political here, but like if you grew up in a democratic household where everything's like keep the peace and, you know, all like really quiet and submissive all around the house, then, or if that's how your parents are to each other, then that's how you're going to be raised. Yeah, the whole gentle parenting thing, yeah, exactly like that. And you should know, like, we're in sales, right? So we meet so many different cultures and so many different people. And that's what I think. So then that guy grows up to be like a nice guy, you know? Second, the very steep decline of testosterone levels in men,
Yes.
right? So there's
Josh brought that up too on his episode.
So I think that is another major contributing factor. And also like the whole women empowerment movement,
Feminism.
that, whatever you want to call it, it's an ick. Yeah.
It's a big ick.
Yeah, look, I'm all about women like killing it like you, right? Like that's awesome. But
Yeah, I mean,
if you try,
people can't come on here and be like, he's a male chauvinist, blah, blah, blah. You literally just talked about how you worked for my mom, and it was like a great career
oh, it was awesome.
for you.
Yeah.
Great career opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's not what it is. That's not what you're talking. You're not talking about women who are empowered or who are successful in their careers, women CEOs. That's all great. We're talking about the feminist agenda.
You're right.
Completely
Because
different.
if you say anything against that, then it's like unleashing a beast of like all of these women attacking this dude, you know? So it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to say anything about that ever again, you know? So because that, they're typically a little bit more dominant, and it's a scale. So once
Yeah.
you start having more dominant women, you're naturally going to have less dominant men.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. What do you think?
That's why you're here. That was part of the whole premise of the podcast, is that the scale has tipped too far in our direction because of the feminist cultural agenda, which started a long time ago. Probably want to say, 70s, 80s, that it really started as propaganda, and we're now reaping what was sown. And the scale has tipped too far to where men are silenced to the point that they're silencing themselves. Like you said, we're just not even going to talk about it anymore. You said we're too forward. All right, we won't even approach you anymore.
Yeah, because I don't care to freaking deal with it.
And,
you can go be psycho over there, right?
Yeah, and it's fair. I mean, that's completely fair. And that in combination with the fall of the family unit. I mentioned that in the very intro episode the natural structure of having a dad who leads the household, who is a stand-up guy. Doesn't matter if he makes $1 million a year or $60,000 a year, as long as he's providing for the household and setting an example of at least being a good person at minimum. If you're not a household of faith, you at least have to set a standard of good morale and being a good husband and all of those things, and just being present in and of itself,
right?
And then also having a mother who checks all her boxes, and a stable home that everybody comes home to the same place and has dinner together,
right?
Like all of those very simple concepts of the core family unit have just completely gone out the window in this country. And like I said, we're now reaping what was sown. We are the product of that demise starting decades ago. And unfortunately, because it's affected men so much, men are the foundation of any society. So we can put on our blazers and we can go to work and we can do anything a man can do as many times as we want. You can put women on every commercial. You can, promote single moms. You can do all those things. But none of that's real. It's not sustainable. You can say all day long, I can do what a man can do, but you can't.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can't. And so we're just feeding ourselves lies to the point that now we have all these single women that are like, why am I still single? I'm great. Where are all the good men? And surprised, I actually do want to get married, even though I haven't done anything in the last decade of my life to act like it.
Yeah. So you brought up like a good point. So like the strong family household thing, right? And God forbid if it doesn't work out, the process of divorce and the court system after the fact, right?
That's
so
true.
When that happens, it's extremely one-sided to the women's side, regardless of why the divorce happened. I actually know someone who caught his wife having an affair. He filed for divorce. He has the kids half the month and still pays his wife like $3,000 a month, which is crazy. But when you start to separate to where I only see my father for, half the time, that's half the time in that kid's life he doesn't have a dad to be there to correct him or lead him on the right path, etc. And only that, the father's not there with his wife to be on the same page about how they should raise their kids. And then also showing a great example of what a man and a woman should be like in love for your kid, right? So like when girls grow up, they're going to naturally be attracted to some sort of chaotic or toxic relationship because their parents were in a chaotic and toxic relationship. And then it starts to bleed like an infection. Then that kid is going to be in a toxic and chaotic relationship with her partner, have 3 kids, and then it's going to be the same cycle all the way down like a Christmas tree.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode of That's What He Said. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you're taking away something valuable that will benefit your dating life. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give this show a follow, rate, and review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like this video, and most importantly, comment below because I want to hear what you said. See you next time.